When my husband's colleague crossed a line, you won't believe the unfolding of events. We invite you to embrace the moment by liking the video, sharing your reflections in the comments, and subscribing to journey with us through our latest tales. I never imagined I would find myself in such a delicate predicament, caught between my devotion to my husband and the disquieting truth of what had just unfolded. Yet, life has a way of leading you into unexpected moments that compel you to reevaluate everything you believed about trust, respect, and your own essence. It all began on a crisp autumn evening. My husband, James, had warmly invited a few colleagues over for an intimate dinner gathering. It was a familiar occurrence. James had dedicated nearly 20 years to his firm, and throughout that time, I had developed a deep familiarity with many of his colleagues. Some had blossomed into friendships, individuals with whom I would share holiday greetings and engage in light conversation at company gatherings. Yet, there was something uniquely captivating about Ryan. Ryan had recently embarked on his journey with the company, having stepped through its doors about a year ago. He was a few years younger than James, perhaps in his early 40s, exuding a quiet confidence and an undeniable charm that drew people in effortlessly. He had a talent for turning every conversation into a shared moment, every compliment resonating like a cherished whisper meant solely for you. It wasn't until that night that it truly crossed my mind. We envisioned a lovely dinner together. The house was filled with the enchanting aroma of rosemary and garlic wafting from the roasted chicken in the oven, while the soft flicker of candlelight cast a warm, inviting glow throughout the space. James radiated joy, his laughter mingling with the warm conversations of his colleagues, while I embraced the role of the attentive host, ensuring drinks flowed and everyone felt at ease. Ryan made his entrance a bit later than the rest, holding a bottle of wine and wearing his familiar, charming smile. "Hope I'm not too late to the gathering," he said, offering me the wine as his fingers lingered over mine, a touch that felt just a moment too long. I brushed aside the fleeting unease, attributing it to the whims of my mind. The evening unfolded, and with each sip, the conversations blossomed into a vibrant exchange of thoughts and laughter. James was immersed in a conversation with his boss regarding an upcoming project, while I found myself engaged in a dialogue with Ryan. He was captivating as ever, yet there was an undercurrent in his words this evening, something deeper, more intense. "You know, Olivia," he said, his voice flowing like a gentle caress. "It's clear that James possesses a certain fortune." I chuckled softly, gently dismissing the remark. "I like to believe that fortune smiles upon me as well." Ryan leaned in gently, his eyes holding a deep, unwavering connection. "If I were in his place, I can't imagine ever wanting to be apart from you." There it was, that undeniable change in atmosphere. A flutter of tension stirred within me. "I believe he shares those feelings," I remarked softly, wishing to gently shift the direction of our conversation. Yet Ryan stood his ground unwavering. As the night unfolded, his words grew more daring, subtle yet seemingly innocent observations that, when woven together, revealed a deeper, more deliberate intention. A brush against my arm that lingered just a second too long, a gaze that felt more intense than casual, a comment spoken near my ear that left me uncertain. I reassured myself that my feelings were perhaps too intense. Perhaps it was the wine that stirred something within. Perhaps it was simply the allure of Ryan's innate charisma. As the evening drew to a close and James bid farewell to the final guests, Ryan lingered for a moment, savoring the lingering atmosphere. "It was truly lovely to share this evening with you," he expressed. His voice lowered slightly, his words lingering in the air. "I'd love to have another conversation like this," he said. "Perhaps just the two of us sometime?" My breath faltered. For a fleeting instant, doubt crept in, leaving me uncertain if his words had truly reached my ears. Yet, the gaze in his eyes and the subtle curve of his lips revealed that I had indeed made an impression. Before I could utter a word, James came back, warmly placing his hand on Ryan's shoulder. "I'm so pleased you could join us, my friend. Take care on the road." Ryan offered a soft smile, his gaze meeting mine for a fleeting moment before he turned and stepped through the doorway. I remained still, my heart racing with anticipation. Could it be that what just unfolded was real? I hardly took in James's voice as he secured the place for the evening, his tone airy and oblivious. That felt quite lovely, wouldn't you agree? It felt as though everyone was enveloped in joy. I summoned a smile. Indeed, it was a delightful evening. As I reclined in bed that night, gazing at the ceiling, an undeniable sense lingered within me, a whisper of change in the air. A shift had occurred, and within my heart, I sensed that this was far from the end. The following morning, I awoke to a peculiar weight resting upon my heart. The house held a serene stillness, broken only by the soft, familiar sound of James in the kitchen, likely preparing his cherished Saturday morning coffee. I reassured myself that I was merely overanalyzing, that Ryan was simply embodying his typical, disarmingly charming nature, and that I had perhaps read too deeply into his expressions. Yet, despite my efforts to push it away, the echo of his voice, the depth of his gaze, the gentle brush of his fingers against mine, clung to me like a haunting presence. I set my thoughts aside and rose from the warmth of the bed, enveloping myself in my robe before making my way downstairs. "Good morning, Han," James said softly, a warm smile gracing his lips as he offered me a steaming mug of coffee. "Did you find rest in your dreams?" "Indeed," I deceived, savoring the moment with a sip. He remained unaware of my uncertainty, seamlessly transitioning to his next idea. "Oh, and just so, Ryan reached out to me this morning. He expressed that he truly enjoyed our time together last night and is eager to meet again soon." I almost sputtered on my coffee. James appeared unaware. I suggested that we embark on a double date together. Perhaps an intimate dinner at that charming new steakhouse downtown. My heart fluttered with uncertainty. Every fiber of my being urged me to refuse, to conjure an excuse, any justification to keep myself away from Ryan's presence once more. Yet, what was I meant to do? Please let my husband know that his colleague has overstepped boundaries, and while I'm uncertain of their intentions, their actions have left me feeling uneasy. I was guided by an instinct, a deep-seated sensation that lingered within me. Instead, I summoned a smile. "That feels lovely." James smiled warmly. "Wonderful, I'll arrange everything." The week that followed, I tried earnestly to push the entire experience from my mind. I immersed myself in a flurry of activities, reconnecting with old friends and tackling errands, all to keep my thoughts from wandering back to Ryan. But then, unexpectedly, a message appeared on my screen. "Ryan. Olivia. I hope your day is unfolding beautifully. I find myself lost in thoughts of our conversation from the other night." A flutter of unease stirred within me. I gazed at the message, my fingers lingering just above the keyboard. I might have turned away, perhaps I should have turned away. Yet, a part of me felt the need to express that what he believed was unfolding was not the reality. "Is it me?" "Hello, Ryan. It seems there may have been a slight miscommunication. I am in a joyful marriage, and I kindly ask that we maintain a professional atmosphere." I pressed send and exhaled softly, wishing that this moment would bring closure. Moments later, my phone vibrated softly once more. "Ryan." "Absolutely, Olivia. I hold that in high regard." Simply expressing a thought. What if circumstances had taken a different turn? I tightened my jaw. He continued, unwavering. I remained silent. 2 days later, the double date unfolded. I thought about backing out, crafting a reason to avoid it, yet I hesitated, not wanting to draw any attention. So, I arrived, adorned in a simple navy dress, my face reflecting a calm, yet inviting demeanor. When we arrived, Ryan and his wife, Lauren, were already nestled in their seats, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. Lauren possessed a gentle spirit, her voice a soothing melody, radiating kindness. She gazed at her husband with an adoration that suggested he was the center of her universe. It stirred a deep unease within me. Ryan exuded a captivating charm, weaving humor into the air, ensuring the conversation flowed effortlessly, as if the past had never cast its shadow. But I noticed it, the fleeting looks exchanged when the world faded away, the gentle touch of his knee against mine beneath the table, the way he leaned in just a fraction too close while offering me the wine bottle. I felt confined. And then, at one point in the evening, while Lauren and James were engaged in conversation, Ryan leaned in and whispered softly, just for my ears, "You're even more beautiful when you're nervous." I stood still, caught in the moment. My heart raced, a thrilling tension coursing through me as I turned to meet his gaze. He offered a smirk, a fleeting hint of mischief that danced at the corners of his lips. I found myself at a crossroads, faced with two paths before me. Allow it to drift away, as I have done in the past, or bring this to a halt right here and now. I inhaled deeply, then let my voice rise, ensuring that James and Lauren could catch every word. "Ryan, I feel that the way you're speaking to me isn't quite right." A hush enveloped the table. James's gaze lifted suddenly. Lauren blinked, a wave of uncertainty washing over her. And Ryan, he simply gazed at me, the playful smile fading as the weight of my actions settled in. James's brow furrowed in contemplation. "What is it?" Ryan released a soft, hesitant laugh. It was merely a playful jest. "It didn't seem like one," I replied with calm assurance. Lauren glanced back and forth between us, a hint of concern etching her features. "Ryan." He shook his head gently, a soft smile gracing his lips. "It was merely a moment of confusion. Let's keep this comfortable." Yet, the tension lingered, and I found myself unfazed. James's gaze met mine, a blend of uncertainty and care in his eyes. "Olivia, how are you feeling?" As our gazes locked, I unveiled a part of myself that had long remained hidden. I found myself confessing that I no longer wished to remain in this place. James chose to remain silent, letting the moment linger in the air. He simply nodded and rose to his feet. "Then let us embark on this journey together." Ryan parted his lips, a hint of words lingering in the air, but I chose not to linger for the sound. I took hold of my purse, casting an apologetic glance at Lauren, and stepped out of the restaurant, my husband beside me. I found myself in a moment of uncertainty, unsure of what the future held. Yet, there was an undeniable certainty that this was far from the end. The journey home in the car was filled with a gentle stillness. James's eyes flickered toward me, a silent invitation for words that lingered unspoken, while I lost myself in the view outside, my mind a maze of emotions. At last, as we glided into the driveway, his voice broke the silence. "Olivia, what transpired in that moment?" I released a soft breath, my fingers tightening around the handle of my purse. "Help me express this in a way that feels right. Challenge me." His voice was soft, yet it carried an undercurrent of something deeper, perhaps worry, or even a hint of frustration. I faced him, selecting my words with intention. "Ryan has been stirring feelings of unease within me." James's brow knitted together in thought. "Could you clarify what you mean?" I took a deep breath. That evening, following dinner at our home, he felt almost too intimate. The way his fingers brushed against my hand, the depth of his gaze upon me. I let it slip away, dismissing it as inconsequential. A few days later, he reached out, sharing that thoughts of our conversation lingered in his mind. James's fingers curled around the steering wheel, a subtle tension coursing through him. And this evening I pressed on. He whispered something that lingered in the air, leaving me feeling unsettled. I attempted to manage it alone, but I came to understand that silence would only prolong the struggle. James's jaw tightened, his knuckles pale with tension. "Olivia, why didn't you share this with me earlier?" As I pondered the possibility, I found myself confessing my uncertainty. "And since he's your colleague, I wanted to ensure that I didn't create any complications for you in your professional environment." James shook his head, his eyes deep with an intensity one seldom witnessed. "Passion. You are my beloved partner. You are my priority. Forever." His words wrapped around me, creating a warmth that eased the weight on my chest, allowing me to finally draw in a breath. Yet this was far from the end. The following morning, I stirred awake to discover James in the kitchen, a cup of foam cradled in his hand, his face reflecting a quiet intensity. "What troubles your heart?" I inquired. He exhaled softly, a gentle release of tension. Ryan reached out to me through a message. He's attempting to maintain a facade of normalcy, expressing a desire that the events of last night didn't stir any unwarranted tension. I let out a soft, dismissive laugh. Unneeded tension. Incredible.
James kees met Mina.
I wish for you to be free from this burden, to find peace and ease in your heart. I plan to have a heartfelt conversation with him at work, in person. My heart paused for a moment. Do you truly feel that way? He stepped beyond what was acceptable, James expressed with conviction. On several occasions. I must express that this situation is unacceptable. There was a warmth in his voice that assured me he would pursue this further, and truthfully, it brought me a sense of comfort. That afternoon, while James was at work, I attempted to carry on with my day as normal, yet an undeniable sense lingered within me, a whisper that Ryan would not simply fade away from this moment without leaving a mark. And I knew it all along. As the clock approached 3 p.m., a gentle vibration stirred my phone. Ryan, I feel like our first conversation didn't go as planned. Maybe we can talk again. I hesitated, feeling a strange sense of unease. No response. Moments later, a new message arrived. Ryan, please, Olivia. Let's approach this with maturity. I clenched my jaw, my heart racing with intensity. The boldness. I decided to cut off communication with him. Then I reached out to James. When James returned home that evening, he appeared weary, yet resolute. What transpired? I inquired as he gently placed his briefcase on the ground. He gently swept his fingers through his hair. I faced him. I felt a wave of tension wash over me, and James breathed out deeply. Initially, he attempted to play it off as a mere jest, suggesting that my feelings were exaggerated. Yet, I expressed my feelings openly. He is to remain out of your life from this moment forward. Always. If he continues this behavior, I'll report it directly to our boss. This isn't something we should tolerate. I gently bit my lip, and he simply embraced that reality. James's expression deepened with intensity. Initially, it wasn't that way. He became guarded. You called me absurd, suggesting that you were taking control of the situation. Yet, I expressed my unwavering trust in you. And that marked the conclusion of our conversation. A wave of emotion surged within me, tightening my throat. Did you truly go through with that? Indeed, I did, he murmured gently. Olivia, my unwavering support for you will never fade. No one should have to face such challenges in solitude. A wave of feeling washed over me. For days, I had felt confined, uncertain of how to navigate the circumstances, anxious about the impact it would have on James. Yet here I was, in our shared space, the steady assurance in his voice awakening a feeling within me that had long been dormant. Secure. I embraced him, drawing him close to me. I'm grateful. His lips gently brushed the crown of my head. Your safety is something I cherish deeply, and there's no need for gratitude. And in that moment, after so many days, I found myself genuinely believing him. Yet, beneath the surface, an undeniable sensation lingered within me. Ryan possessed a steadfast spirit that refused to yield. I found myself questioning whether this truly marked the end. I yearned to convince myself that it had come to an end. James's warning lingered in Ryan's mind, compelling him to retreat and never return. Yet, within the depths of my being, I understood more profoundly. And I knew it all along. 2 days later, as I wandered through the grocery store, guiding my cart along the produce aisle, a sensation washed over me. A captivating presence. A shadow that hovers just a breath away. I turned, and a wave of emotion washed over me.
Ryan.
He lingered a few feet away, his gaze drifting over a row of apples as if he were drawn to their vibrant allure, savoring the moment of serendipity. Yet, I was aware of the truth within me. The shop lay on the other side of town from his workplace. He found himself in a place that felt unfamiliar, as if drawn by an unseen force. My heart raced with anticipation. I contemplated walking away, yet a part of me held back, unwilling to reveal my vulnerability to him. I straightened my posture, grasped a bag of oranges, and immersed myself in the moment, as if he were a distant thought. Yet, he remained oblivious to the subtle suggestion. "Olivia," he murmured softly. "What a delightful surprise to find you here." I remained silent. He moved in nearer. "There's no reason for unkindness. It seems there may have been a gentle miscommunication between us." I turned to face him, my heart racing with anticipation. "There's a clarity between us, Ryan. You have ventured into a space that feels too close, and it's best for you to keep your distance from me now." His smile wavered. "Let's embrace this moment. There's no need for theatrics." "Intense?" My voice was soft yet resolute. "Reaching out to me after I've cut off communication? Arriving in this moment? That feels unusual, Ryan." His expression shifted, and in that moment, I caught a glimpse of the truth beneath the surface. "You know," he said, tilting his head, "James is lucky. Take care, Olivia." His tone carried an undertone I couldn't quite place. A shiver coursed through me. This was more than mere determination. This served as a gentle reminder. I locked eyes with him, determined to mask the tremor of my heart. "Are you implying something towards me?" Ryan raised his hands, a familiar, playful smile gracing his lips. "Not in the slightest. Simply sharing a thought." I turned and walked away, my hands trembling with unspoken feelings. I left my cart behind and hurried to my car, securing the doors as soon as I settled in. My phone found its way into my hand before I even noticed the movement. I reached out to James. James returned home sooner than he typically would that evening. He was filled with intense emotion. "Did he pursue you?" he inquired, his voice laced with a simmering intensity. "Yes," I said, "and he wasn't merely crossing a line, James. He was attempting to evoke a sense of fear within me." James breathed out softly, moving restlessly around the kitchen. "That's all there is. I've reached my limit with the games." I took a deep breath. "What will you choose to do?" He locked his gaze with mine. "I'm heading to see our boss. And if that doesn't resolve things, I will turn to HR for support. Ryan is not afforded this opportunity. Not for you. To no one at all." For the first time since this began, I sensed a change stirring within me. A burden eased, for I found solace in shared experience. Ryan attempted to diminish my strength, yet I remained unwavering. Not any longer. The next day, James filed a formal complaint with HR. Ryan must have realized he pushed too far, because by the end of the week, he had resigned from the company. Word spread fast, something about personal reasons and new opportunities elsewhere. But James and I knew the truth. He was gone. And for the first time in weeks, I could breathe again. That weekend, James and I sat on the back porch, watching the sunset. "You okay?" he asked, his fingers lacing through mine. I nodded. "Yeah, I think I finally am." James exhaled, rubbing his thumb over my hand. "I should have seen it sooner. I should have." I cut him off. "No, he was the problem, not you. And you stood by me when I needed you most. That's what matters." He pulled me closer, pressing a kiss to my forehead. "Always." I smiled, resting my head on his shoulder. This whole ordeal had been a nightmare, but it had also taught me something important about myself, about James, about the strength we had together. Ryan had attempted to release his hold on me. Yet ultimately, he only served to illuminate the depth of my own strength.